The three-circle model of world English by Kachru, or the three-circle of English language by Kachru. The three-circle model of world English was developed by Kachru in 1985, as I told you, and it remains one of the influential model of English language in the field of world Englishes. Kachru described three different concentric models, three circles. One is the inner circle, the other is the outer circle, and the third one is the expanding circle. Okay? So inner circle is inside the outer circle and outer circle is inside the expanding circle. Okay? These are three circles. These circles represent the spread, the patterns of acquisitions, and the function of English language across cultures and countries. Although Kachru three circles of English is still an important initial stepping stone in the division of Englishes around the world, but still it has been criticized by many linguists, as I told you. Okay? So what is the inner circle of Kachru? The inner circle of Kachru, presented by Kachru, it refers to the traditional basis of English dominated by mother tongue varieties where English is used as first language. What is the inner circle? The inner circle includes those countries where English is used as a first language or as a mother tongue. Okay? This circle includes USA, UK, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. Because in these countries English is used as mother tongue or first language. Okay, this is the inner circle. There are only native speakers of English language. Okay. Now, the outer circle consists of the earlier phases of the spread of English in non-native contexts, where English language has become the part of a country's institutions and it is used as a second language. Okay, the outer circle includes those countries where English is used as second language. Now the inner circle people, they spread this English to the outer circle. They came out of their countries and they went to other countries. Either they colonized those countries or they influenced these countries to other ways, but in those countries now English is used as second language and it is the part of their education and many other official records. Okay? This is the second circle. Most of the countries included in the outer circles are the former colonies of Britain or USA, such as Singapore, Malaysia, India, Ghana, Kenya and other South African countries and some of the European countries. They were the former colonies of Britain Empire and USA, invaded many countries recently. So their language is used, English language is used as a second language. This is the outer circle. The expander circle refers to the territories where English is learned as a foreign language. This is simple. Now these territories where English is used as a foreign language are not the colonies of British Empire or US. Okay? These, for example, Russia has not remained a colony of UK or USA. And there English is used as a foreign language. Students, they learn English. China, English is learned as a foreign language. Okay? So these countries or these territories, they are included in the expanding circle. Okay? These countries include China, Japan, Greek, Poland, Russia and many others. Now he has given three other names. Explanations has been given through three names. The inner circle he call it norm providing. N-O-R-M, norm providing. Outer circle he names it norm developing. And the expanding circle he names it norm dependent. One circle is norm providing, the other circle is norm development, and the third one is norm dependent. Okay? The question is, does this representation of world Englishes in the three circle represent the reality of the native and non-native speakers of the world? There are some limitations in this division of English language in these circles. According to Patel, the model assumes that the three circles represent linguistic reality perfectly. But there are some distorted areas, there are some confusing places where we cannot identify whether English is used as native language or second language or foreign language. Kachru himself has noted that concentric circles may be oversimplified and there are some grey areas exist. Some special cases like South Africa and Jamaica are difficult to be classified in the circles. We cannot place them in outer, neither we can place them in expanding circles, because their English language use cannot be identified either as second language or as foreign language. Even he himself, he agrees to this point that my divisions of circles are not perfectly representing English language division in the world. As Kachru himself acknowledged the fact that the categories are not necessarily mutually exclusive and grey areas exist between circles. David Crystal says that the three circles presented by Kachru, the model of English language, are not defining boundaries. Kachru model describes the inner circle, outer circle and expanding circles as norm providing, norm developing and norm dependent. Don't forget. However, Crystal comments that the model cannot represent the reality of international language use. The problem is, Crystal discusses English as a global language. He says whether this English as a global language is the same in inner, outer and expanding circle or not. There is a problem whether English as a global language is used in the same way in all these three circles, in the inner circle and in the outer circle and in the expanding circles. He supposes one thing. He says, Crystal says, that English is spoken by 375 million native speakers. And suppose we say that 375 million speakers are living in the inner circle. Okay? Then there are 375 million speakers who use English language as second language. So we can say that they are living in the outer circle. And then he says that there are 750 million people who use and learn English as a foreign language. Looking at the circle, we can say that they are living in the expanding circle. It is important to point out that the number of English users is developing at a very faster rate because of its use as international language or global language. International communication has become a common phenomenon between the circles, and the increased mobility of the people has made personal relationship across language borders. Now, Kachru circle seems to acknowledge diversity but little. And this is another objection, that the people of the world, they are rapidly learning English language. And there is a great movement of the people from one country to the other country. The movement of the people might be from the expanding circle to the second circle, the outer circle, and sometimes they from the expanding circle, they move to the inner circle directly. And this movement of people, it influences their English language use. So a foreign language learner, he becomes a native because he lives with natives for more than 20 years in America. And he develops this language as the native speaker has developed it. So these circles are not defining boundaries, because this foreign language circle might develop the inner language circle. It is difficult to divide English language speakers of the world in the circles because of this movement of the people from one area to the other area. Okay? And due to increasing international communication, the distinction between the outer and the expanding circle, it becomes very, very difficult. Okay, in Kachru's model, the expanding circle refers to the territories where English is learned as foreign language. However, because of the growth of English, the language has become a necessity in today's world. English is not only learned in the expanding circles, or even mostly to enable communication with the inner and outer circle. The importance of English is keep increasing in the world. As a result, learning English can no longer be seen as learning a foreign language. This has been pointed out by Gradle 2006. He says that English language learning process is a very speedy process, and many people of the world living in the expanding circle, they are utilizing their resources to learn English language rapidly. Now when these sources are utilized and they learn English language, they start using it. And when they start using it in foreign language context, it does not become a foreign language in that area. Gradle is of the view that the idea of foreign language learning does not exist in the world, because English is not these days a foreign language in the world. One way or the other way, English has reached to the people of the world. It is not a foreign language in traditional sense. So we cannot say that there are territories of the world which are included in expanding circles. This can be assumed. It is not he said it directly, but we are assuming it. That keeping this discussion in mind, we can say there are only two circles, the inner circle and the outer circles, because the traditional foreign language learning process does not exist in the world, and English is almost spread to all the territories of the world. Okay? The functions of English are highly restricted in the expanding circle, which cannot reflect the actual use of English. It is understood that when you learn English language as a foreign language in a context where English is a foreign language, your use will be a restricted use than the person who has learned it as a second language or who is the native speaker of the language. It is a common observation that a foreign language user and a native language user or a second language user, there are differences between their use of English language. Okay? So it can be said that the foreign language users are marginalized. Ideologically, you have developed a boundary between two kinds of users. One are the users who are not privileged, and one are the users who are privileged. And if this is the case, then people will start loving one category of people and they will start look down upon the other category of people. And then you are making linguistic class distinction. Isn't it the case? Okay. As the description of expanding circle mentioned in Kachru, the performance varieties of English have a highly restricted functional range in specific context, for example, those of tourism, commerce and international transaction. In fact, the range of English used in expanding circles has become much wider due to increasing growth of English. There is much more use of English nowadays in some countries of the expanding circles where it is only a foreign language, than in some of the countries where it has traditionally helped as a special role. Now this is what Crystal says. Crystal is of the view that there are places in the foreign language context where you can feel that English is used very much. For example, you go to the airport in a foreign language context. Everybody will be a user of English language. Although it will be a place, the airport will be there in a foreign language context. Russia. Then Crystal says this is unsatisfactory to divide this English language users in terms of circles. This is the expanding circle The functions are not restricted anywhere in the world. Because people might contact this beacon house, these areas where English is not restricted, where English functions are not restricted. Some researchers suggest that Kachru 3 models should not base the classification of English speakers on national identity. A national identity should not be a basis for classification of speakers of an international language. For example, you might have seen advertisements on the internet for teachers of any Dubai school or Saudi Arab school. So they say that a native English language teacher is required. A non-native speaker of international English language, the native speakers of international language. The more English becomes an international language, the more the division of its speakers into native and non-natives become inconsistent. Now, if it remains consistent, it will create classes. It should not be kept consistent.
Then people will not look at how fluent and how accurate you are in English language. They will look whether you are from an inner circle or outer circle.
Although English native speakers visually do not have higher hierarchy since they are not placed at the top of the 3 circles, it still prefers the native English speakers in the inner circle. Brute comments that the inner circle clearly establishes at the top of the hierarchy. The idea that English is someone's second language implies that it is someone's first language. It gives the impression that English belongs to the native speaker who owns it, is his first language. Okay? Kachru has acknowledged that it is almost unavoidable that anyone who would take second is less worthy. In order to ease the problem, Yano suggests that ENL and ESL circles can merge into a single ENL circle with 2 sets of varieties, genetic and functional varieties. Kachru himself says, it is unavoidable to treat a second language learner as less worthy. To conclude, we can say that Kachru 3 circles model has limitations. We can also say that it does not reflect the English language used in the world perfectly. There are many objections to this divisions in terms of circles, and the model is oversimplified, and the classification among these 3 circles are not clear. There are some gray areas. In fact, the 3 varieties are mutually inclusive and gray area exists in all these varieties. Now we should also look and research this matter to understand it in a better way, to provide solution to this problem in new perspectives. Because we are English language users one way or the other way, and we are English linguistic students. We know these issues and problems. Now it is our duty to research the area more, to contribute to this field of study. Okay? Thank you.